Dr. Elena Martinez stared at the holographic display floating above her desk, its soft blue glow illuminating the deep furrows in her brow. The genetic mapping of humanity's diaspora across 3,000 colonized worlds should have been straightforward, a simple census to mark the 400th anniversary of human expansion into the stars. Instead, she found herself looking at something that defied explanation. "Computer, run the analysis again," she commanded, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "Factor in all genetic variants from Earth standard baseline, circa 2050. The AI hummed softly as it processed the request. Elena took a sip of her now-cold coffee, grimacing at both its temperature and the bitter taste. The small office in the Xenoanthropological Institute on New Terra felt more cramped than usual, the weight of her discovery pressing in on her from all sides. The display flickered and reformed, showing the same results. In all of mapped space, among the billions of humans and their descendants, pure Homo sapiens DNA appeared in less than 0.01% of the population. The rest showed varying degrees of modification, adaptation, and integration with other species. Elena leaned back in her chair, the smart fabric automatically adjusting to support her new position. She'd expected to find changes, that was natural after 4 centuries of colonization. Humanity had spread across environments that would kill an unmodified human in minutes. They'd developed resistances to alien diseases, adaptations to different gravities, and tolerances to exotic atmospheres. But this was different. This wasn't just adaptation, it was transformation. A gentle chime announced a visitor. "Come in," Elena called out, not bothering to look up from the data. Dr. Xin Wei Zhang, her colleague and friend for the past decade, entered. His silvery scales, a modification for the high radiation environment of his home world, caught the light as he moved. "Elena, you missed the department meeting. Again." "Look at this, Wei," she said, gesturing to the display. "Tell me I'm not seeing what I think I'm seeing." Wei stepped closer, his third eyelid, another adaptation, flickering as he studied the data. "These can't be right. The sampling must be off. I've run it 16 times. Different parameters, different baseline comparisons. The result is always the same." Elena stood up and began pacing, her movements agitated. "Humanity as we knew it, as it existed when we left Earth, is functionally extinct." Wei's scales rippled, a sign of deep thought. "But we're still here. We're still human. Are we?" Elena stopped at the window, looking out at the sprawling campus below. Students of all shapes and sizes moved between buildings, some with extra limbs for better mobility in high gravity, others with iridescent skin that helped process the binary star system's unusual radiation. "Look at them, Wei. Look at us. In 4 centuries, we've changed more than we did in the previous 40,000 years. Natural selection at an unprecedented scale," Wei mused. "Multiple environments, multiple pressures, and the technology to accelerate adaptation." Elena turned back to him, her expression intense. "It's more than that. The genetic diversity isn't random. There are patterns here that suggest something deliberate. Something, guided. Guided by whom?" Wei asked, though his tone suggested he already suspected the answer. "By everyone. By no one. By the collective choices of billions of humans deciding how to survive, how to thrive, how to—" She gestured at Wei's scales, "how to become something new. The question is, do we tell them?" Wei's scales darkened, a sign of concern. "Tell who?" "Everyone. The Genetic Preservation Council. The Colonial Administration. The public." Elena returned to her desk and pulled up another set of data. "They're still operating under the assumption that humanity exists as a single, definable species. They're wrong. We're not one species anymore, we're becoming hundreds, maybe thousands of different species." "They'll panic," Wei said quietly. "The preservationists will demand immediate action. They'll try to force genetic standardization. They might, Elena agreed, but they'd be fighting against the tide. Look at these progression models. She manipulated the display, showing projections of genetic drift and diversification over the next several centuries. It's not just continuing, it's accelerating. Every new world we colonize, every new environmental challenge we face, every interaction with alien species, they all push us further along this path. Wei was silent for a long moment, his scales shifting through patterns of thought. You know what this reminds me of, he finally said. The Cambrian explosion. A sudden diversification of life forms, each adapting to fill new niches. Except this time, we're doing it consciously, with purpose. Elena nodded slowly. The difference is, we can see it happening. We can understand it. And we have to decide what to do about it. What are you planning? Wei asked, knowing his friend well enough to recognize the determined set of her jaw. I'm going to present my findings at the Galactic Scientific Congress next month, Elena said, her voice firm. But first, I need to understand more. There's something about these patterns, these genetic changes, that doesn't quite add up. They're too coordinated. Wei's scales flickered with alarm. Elena, this is bigger than just genetic drift. If what you're suggesting is true. I know, she interrupted. That's why I need your help. We need to dig deeper, look at the historical records, track the patterns of change. Because I think. She paused, weighing her words carefully, I think humanity didn't just change. I think we planned this, right from the start. And I think it's time we found out why. As if in response to her words, a new alert flashed on her display. Another data set had finished processing, showing something even more startling, genetic markers that shouldn't exist, patterns that suggested capabilities far beyond what anyone had imagined possible. Elena and Wei shared a look of mingled excitement and apprehension. They both knew that what they'd discovered wasn't just the end of humanity as they knew it, it was the beginning of something entirely new. The question was, were they ready for what that meant? As the binary suns of New Terra set outside her window, casting long shadows across the campus, Elena began composing a message. It would go to a select group of colleagues across human space, researchers she trusted who could help verify and expand upon her findings. Because if she was right, if humanity had indeed engineered its own extinction and rebirth, then the real question wasn't what they had become. The real question was what they were becoming. Commander James Chen stood at the viewport of the TSV Curiosity, watching the unfamiliar stars of the Carina sector drift past. The science vessel's quantum sensors hummed quietly, collecting data from supposedly uninhabited systems. But Chen knew better. The patterns were there, hidden in the background radiation, in gravitational anomalies, in seemingly random stellar fluctuations. Commander, called Lieutenant Sarah O'Neill from her station, her bioluminescent patches glowing softly in the dim bridge lighting, an adaptation that helped her species of human navigate the perpetual storms of their homeworld. We're picking up another signal. Chen moved to her station, his modified eyes automatically adjusting to read the complex data streams. After 20 years in deep space, his own modifications were subtle but effective, enhanced radiation resistance, improved zero-G adaptation, and neural interfaces that let him process vast amounts of sensor data. Same pattern as the others? He asked, though he already knew the answer. Yes, sir. Quantum entanglement communications, but... She paused, her bioluminescence flickering with excitement, this one's active. Not just residual traces. Chen felt his pulse quicken. For 6 months, they'd been following these ghostly signals across unexplored space, always finding empty systems with suspicious signs of habitation. But this was different. Plot an approach vector, he ordered. And get Dr. Martinez on the comm, she needs to see this. Minutes later, Elena Martinez's hologram flickered to life in the bridge's conference area. In the 3 months since she'd shared her findings about humanity's genetic diaspora, she'd become the leading expert on what she called divergent human evolution. "James," she greeted him, her image showing signs of fatigue. "Please tell me you found something." "Active quantum communications," he replied without preamble. "And this time, we might catch them before they disappear." Elena's expression sharpened. "You think these are the same people who've been clearing out ahead of you?" "Has to be. The pattern matches the other sites exactly." He sent her the sensor data. "But here's the interesting part, the quantum signature. It matches some of those anomalous genetic markers you found." Elena's eyes widened as she processed the implications. "They're using biological quantum entanglement. That shouldn't be possible." "Tell that to them," Chen said with a grim smile. "Whatever these people are, they're not just modified humans. They're something else entirely." The bridge lights suddenly dimmed as alarms blared. "Commander!" O'Neill called out. "Multiple ships just appeared on sensors." Sir, they just emerged from quantum space. Not hyperspace, not wormhole transit. Actual quantum space." Chen swore quietly. In 4 centuries of space travel, humanity had mastered faster-than-light travel through hyperspace and artificial wormholes. But quantum space travel? That was theoretical at best, impossible at worst. "They're hailing us," O'Neill reported, her bioluminescence pulsing with anxiety. Chen shared a look with Elena's hologram. "Put them through," they said simultaneously. The holoscreen filled with an image that made both of them catch their breath. The figure looking back at them was humanoid, but only in the loosest sense. Their skin seemed to shift and flow like liquid mercury, and where eyes should be, there was only a swirling vortex of quantum probability states. "Greetings, siblings," the figure said in perfect standard English. "We've been expecting you." "You know who we are?" Chen asked, keeping his voice steady. "Of course. We've been watching your progress since Dr. Martinez made her discovery. It's time you understood what humanity has become." The figure's form shifted, becoming more recognizably human for a moment before flowing back to its quantum state. "We are what you might call the far edge of human evolution." Elena stepped forward, her hologram flickering with intensity. "The genetic markers, they were a message, weren't they? A breadcrumb trail leading us here." "Indeed," the quantum being confirmed. "We are the children of entropy, one of many paths humanity has chosen to follow. There are others, the stellar-born, the deep dwellers, the void dancers. All of us, experiments in what humanity could become." "But why hide?" Chen demanded. "Why let everyone think humanity was going extinct?" The being's form rippled with what might have been amusement. "Because, Commander, sometimes a species needs to believe it's ending before it can accept that it's truly beginning. We didn't hide to deceive you, we hid to protect you from trying to stop your own evolution." Elena's hologram paced the bridge, her scientist's mind racing. The coordinated patterns in the genetic drift, they weren't natural at all, were they? They were designed. But not by any one person or group. By all of us, the quantum being finished. By every human who chose to adapt, to change, to become something new. We simply guided the process. Ensured that when humanity finally reached this point, when you finally found us, you would be ready to understand. Understand what? Chen asked, though part of him already knew the answer. That humanity isn't dying, Commander. It's branching. Growing. Becoming something far greater than a single species could ever be. The being's form expanded, filling the holoscreen with swirling patterns of quantum probability. And now, it's time for you to choose your own path. As if to emphasize the point, more ships emerged from quantum space around them, each one hosting a different variation of evolved humanity. Some were beings of pure energy, others seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once, and still others defied description entirely. Chen looked at Elena's hologram, seeing his own mix of terror and excitement reflected in her expression. They both knew that whatever happened next would redefine not just humanity's future, but the very meaning of what it meant to be human. The quantum being waited patiently as they processed this revelation, its forms swirling with patterns that seemed to hint at infinite possibilities. "So," it said finally, "shall we begin?" The Galactic Council chambers on New Geneva Station had never seen such a diverse gathering of humanity's descendants. Elena Martinez stood at the podium, her data crystals glowing softly as she prepared to present her findings to representatives from across known space, and now, unknown space as well. The quantum beings, calling themselves the children of entropy, had arranged this unprecedented meeting. Around the chamber sat delegates representing every major branch of human evolution, crystalline beings from the core worlds who had adapted to live in stellar coronas, the deep dwellers with their phosphorescent skin and compound eyes evolved for ocean planet colonization, and dozens of other variations that pushed the very definition of human. "Distinguished delegates," Elena began, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "3 months ago, I announced that humanity, as we knew it, was extinct. Today, I stand corrected. Humanity isn't extinct, it's flourishing in ways we never imagined possible." Commander Chen, standing at her side, activated the holographic display. A three-dimensional map of known space materialized above the chamber, showing not just the official human colonies, but hundreds of previously unknown settlements, each marked with a different color representing a distinct evolutionary branch. "For 4 centuries," Elena continued, "we believed we were simply adapting to new environments. The truth is far more remarkable. We were orchestrating our own evolutionary divergence, guided by the collective unconscious choices of billions of individuals, and the conscious direction of those who saw the potential in our genetic malleability." A murmur ran through the chamber as the Deep Dwellers representative, Dr. Kina Mar, rose from her seat. Her gill slits pulsed gently as she spoke. "Why maintain the secret? Why let us believe we were losing our humanity?" The quantum being who had first contacted the curiosity materialized in the center of the chamber, its mercury-like form rippling. "Because fear of extinction drives evolution. The belief that humanity was dying forced each group to make bold choices, to push the boundaries of what was possible. And now, this from a stellar born, their crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns. Now that we know the truth." Elena stepped forward again. "Now we have a choice. We can try to reverse course, to enforce genetic standardization as some have suggested." She paused as angry mutters filled the chamber. "Or we can embrace what we've become, not a dying species, but a species experiencing a radiation event unlike anything in Earth's history." Commander Chen activated another display, showing the genetic diversity charts. Each branch of humanity has developed unique solutions to the challenges of space colonization. The quantum children can navigate probability space. The stellar-born can live inside stars. The deep dwellers can colonize ocean worlds we once thought uninhabitable. Together, we're not just surviving in space, we're thriving in ways our ancestors could never have imagined. But are we still human? The question came from a traditional human delegate, one of the few remaining baseline specimens. The quantum being's form shifted, taking on aspects of each evolutionary branch in turn. What is human? Is it a specific genetic code? A particular form? Or is it something more, the drive to explore, to adapt, to become more than we are? By that definition, we are more human than humanity has ever been. Elena brought up her final display, a projection of future evolutionary paths. We stand at a crossroads. We can choose to fear our diversity, to try to force ourselves back into a single form. Or we can embrace it, coordinate our efforts, and see just how far humanity's potential can reach. The chamber erupted in discussion, representatives from each branch adding their voices to the debate. But Elena noticed something remarkable. The arguments weren't about whether to continue their evolutionary journey, but how best to proceed together. As the debate continued, she felt a familiar ripple in space-time. Another quantum being materialized beside her, this one taking on a more human-like form. "They're ready," it said simply. Elena nodded. "They are. But for what?" The being's form shifted, showing glimpses of possibilities that made Elena's mind reel. "For the next step. We've mastered adaptation to physical space. Now it's time to explore other dimensions, other realities. The universe is so much bigger than we imagined, and humanity, in all its forms, is ready to explore it all." Commander Chen joined them, his modified eyes taking in the quantum being's shifting form without difficulty. "You knew this would happen. All of you, every branch, you've been preparing for something specific." "We have," the being confirmed. Humanity's diaspora wasn't just about survival or adaptation. It was about becoming something new, something that could face the challenges we've seen coming. The universe is alive with intelligence, but we've evolved into forms that can interact with all of it, from quantum-scale civilizations to beings that live inside stars. Elena looked out at the chamber, at the incredible diversity of what humanity had become, and felt a profound sense of hope. They hadn't lost their humanity, they'd multiplied it, expanded it, made it something far greater than anyone could have imagined. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: humanity, in all its new forms, was ready to face it together. The observation deck of New Geneva Station offered an unparalleled view of the quantum fleet hanging in space like liquid starlight. Elena Martinez watched as another group of evolved humans demonstrated their unique abilities. This time, it was the Void Dancers, beings who could slip between dimensions as easily as walking through a door. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Commander Chen said, joining her at the viewport. In the 3 weeks since the council meeting, he'd begun showing signs of quantum resonance himself, subtle shifts in his appearance that suggested he was unconsciously adapting to prolonged exposure to the children of entropy. The future of humanity was about to be decided, not by force or fear, but by the simple truth that they had become exactly what they needed to be to face this moment. They had become not just one species, but many, and in doing so, had made themselves ready for whatever the universe had to offer. 1 year after first contact with the energy constructs, Elena Martinez stood in the newly constructed Convergence Center on Mars, watching as representatives from every branch of humanity gathered for a historic announcement. The massive dome above showed both the red Martian sky and, through quantum imaging, views from every human settlement across space, from the heart of stars to the depths of ocean worlds. The Heritage Alliance had undergone its own evolution in the past year. After witnessing the true scope of universal intelligence, they transformed from opponents of change into archivists of human history, documenting each step of humanity's unprecedented evolutionary journey. "Ready?" Commander Chen asked, appearing beside her. His quantum resonance had stabilized into something unique, neither fully traditional human nor quantum being, but a bridge between states of existence. Like many others, he'd found his own path of evolution. "As ready as I'll ever be," Elena replied, straightening her jacket. The data crystal containing her final report felt heavy in her pocket. "How are our guests?" "Waiting in their own way," Chen said with a smile. The energy constructs, who called themselves the architects, existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. For them, this moment was both about to happen and had already happened countless times. Elena took the podium, facing the assembled delegates and the billions watching through quantum feeds. Every branch of humanity was represented, the stellar-born glowing with inner light, the deep dwellers with their phosphorescent skin, the void dancers shifting between dimensions, and countless others. 401 years ago, she began, humanity left Earth with a dream of colonizing the stars. We thought we knew what that meant, finding new worlds, establishing colonies, expanding our reach. We were wrong. Or rather, we were thinking too small. She activated the holographic display, showing the new map of human space, not just physical space, but quantum space, probability space, and dimensions that had no names in any human language. We didn't just colonize space, she continued. We colonized reality itself. Every branch of humanity, every new form we've taken, represents not just adaptation to an environment, but adaptation to a fundamental aspect of the universe. The quantum children understand probability and possibility. The stellar-born comprehend the language of fusion and stellar mechanics. The deep dwellers know the secrets of gravity and pressure. Together, we've become something unprecedented, a species that can perceive and interact with every layer of reality. The architect's representative, a shifting construct of energy and thought, moved forward. Through the combined translating abilities of multiple human branches, its message reached everyone simultaneously. You have become what we hoped you would. Not a single species bound by form, but a symphony of adaptation, each variation adding its own note to the universal chorus. Elena nodded, continuing her speech. The architects have shown us that the universe is not just more complex than we imagined, it's more complex than we could have imagined. But now, with our combined perspectives, we can begin to truly understand it. She revealed the contents of her data crystal, a new proposal that had taken a year to develop with input from every branch of humanity and the architects themselves. Today, we establish the Convergence Initiative. Not to reverse our evolution or to force it in any particular direction, but to coordinate it. To ensure that as we continue to adapt and change, we maintain the connections that make us stronger together. Every branch of humanity has something unique to offer, some way of perceiving and interacting with reality that adds to our collective understanding. The chamber filled with murmurs of approval as she outlined the initiative's goals: coordinated exploration of new dimensions, sharing of evolutionary discoveries, and preservation of humanity's history even as they embraced its future. We stand at the beginning of a new era, Elena concluded. We are no longer just the children of Earth. We are the children of reality itself, adapted to every corner of existence. And together, we will discover what it truly means to be human, not as a single form, but as an endless symphony of possibilities. As she finished speaking, the architects began to glow, their energy spreading through the chamber. Through their combined perceptions, every being present could see the threads of quantum probability, the flows of stellar energy, the currents of gravity, and dimensions beyond normal spacetime. For a moment, they all glimpsed what they were becoming, not the end of humanity, but its transformation into something magnificent and endless. The future stretched out before them, filled with possibilities that no single species could explore alone. But together, in all their diverse forms, they were ready to face whatever waited in the infinite depths of space and time. Humanity hadn't gone extinct. It had become eternal.